Cormac Cathaoirleach, and greetings to new Minister Daly, and happy to have the old faces back. Look, I put down 4 questions and I just tipped through them fairly quickly. The first one related to the commitment and the very welcome recommitment that the Taoiseach made in his first address to the Dáil after his appointment, that there would be ratification by the end of this year. That takes Minister McGrath slightly off the hook. There's somebody else now making the commitment as well. So that's good news. So really what I wanted to get to here, what's the work? The clock ticks back from the 31st of December to the 28th of June. So what's the work that the department has to do to facilitate that? And you've mentioned the deprivation of liberty, the decision support service, and a small bit of work in relation to the Mental Health Act. But can I just say, you're shy of actually stating that these pieces will be concluded by certain dates to facilitate that. So that's the only comment I'll make on that. The second question I asked was, and I'm very unhappy with the attempt or the non-attempt at answering this, an estimation or the extent of unmet needs that are required to support people with disabilities and mental health needs. Right? I didn't even say give me the numbers. I said give me an estimation, right? It was a pass question rather than an honours question in that sense, because sometimes it's not always easy to know the exact numbers. There are 11 paragraphs. 10 of them take us on a tour. Strategy plans, current funding levels, couple of pilot projects, policy orientation, commitments to standards and safety. All useful information, but they don't address the question. And the question, the nearest we get to it is in the final paragraph, which says the 18 estimates and service planning, the HSE is engaged in a review of current service requirements and crucial unmet needs in planning and prioritising service requirements for 18. And it's informed by best practice, etc. But there's not one estimate. There's not one estimate of a hint of the numbers of people that might need personal assistance. A hint of the number of people and the quantum in relation to services for people to be able to stay living in their own homes, never mind the community. Like, how can the department usefully engage in a review of current service requirements and current unmet needs if it's not able to? Does it have this information and it's not actually putting it on the table? Right? So, like, I think this is quite serious, that there is even no guesstimate being provided as to what unmet need is in a range of core areas. And they don't wish to, if you like, wander into the issue of the Devereux family. But in that context, we spoke today about the statutory underpinning of Fair Deal. I know people who are young, under 65 people with disabilities who are in nursing homes. And who can say there is not a connection between the lack of provision or planning for provision in the community and that fact? And I think, and Minister, you mentioned this before, the need for a statutory underpinning of the community side. And that has to be not only for older people, but right across the board, if we're to try and bring some balance into this. The third question was section 3839, and my sense is, it's a short answer, that the answer is very much about the IR and the personnel development issues. I asked a question which was the impact for organisations related to the sustainability of person-centred services, where there will be increased staff migration to better paying. I was not asking about the IR or the HR issues. I wanted some sense I'm told that people working in Section 38 funded organisations are in 39s are not public servants. Are those working in 38s, are they public servants? But the point at issue is, if we want to have quality public services, there's an organisation on that side of the road which is funded under one section of the Act, and on that side funded by another. They're both providing the same services. You could swap them over, right? And there are issues for one where people will come in, cut their teeth and migrate, and good luck to them if they can do that. But one organisation is left then with churning and issues related to that. That has to be an issue. Now, I raised this matter in the Seanad with Minister Donoghue, and he said he would anchor this, he understood it, that he'd anchor this matter into current negotiations with the concept of affordability. And he said, I'm aware that the decision that we make about public service pay will have consequences for other organisations that are not in the public service but provide public services. Now, I'd like to ask, that was the 30th of May. Has there been any engagement or knocking on the Department of Health or the HSE's door by that department since then? Because the actual agreement has been made that would actually move this on. The final question was really, and I didn't use the term, it was about the determinants of health. It was as a result of a number of groups being in here and talking about the impact of services or the lack of them in other areas that it has on health. And again, I got a bit of a tour. The National Disability Implementation Strategy, and for the benefit of everyone, that's a strategy that's about to be published, but that's a strategy that should have been live a year and a half ago. So it was to pick up from one that finished in 15. So let's be clear about that. There has been none in play for the last 18 months. The Comprehensive Employment Strategy should have been in place since 2013. Didn't start till the end of 15. Am I to take it, I'll just cut to the chase here, am I to take it that there are no issues that this department has in relation to services in other departments that would actually help people, and I use the word advisory, migrate out of the health area and into education, employment, supports that are in the community? Like, are there no poverty issues? The SILC stats say there are increased poverty for people with disabilities. Are there no social housing issues? The information we've just got tells us that that has increased over the last 3 years by 16–17%. Employment is a chronic issue. If we're trying to move people on after school or people who've become disabled as adults, how do you get them, some of them anyway, back into work if no one on that side is taking things up? Accessibility, transport, these are some of the issues. And so they're really I thank people for putting the work into it, but I don't find a lot of value in the text that I have got back generally in relation to these. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to go to Deputy Kate O'Connell.
Thank you very much. You're all very welcome. Congratulations, Minister Harris. I'm very happy that you're still the Minister for Health. And I just looking at your statement that you've learned the value of using the available expertise to inform solutions. So that's good. Nice to see. And also to Minister Murphy and to Minister McGrath, and to congratulate Minister Daly on his appointment. First off, I look at the increased numbers of consultants mentioned in your opening statement, Minister, and
thanks for that. And I should have acknowledged at the very start that there has been a number of significant things have happened over the last year, in fairness. My four questions. The answer to the first question, I'm very pleased with. I really have not got, and I would like it to be on the record, that I have not got a substantial answer to the question about the extent or estimates of unmet need. I have got information about what is being done. That's fine. But I have not, and I think it's quite worrying. So I just want to put that in the record. We don't have to row about it anymore. To Section 3839, I'm delighted to hear that the Minister has been in talking to Minister Donoghue. I specifically asked, has DEPR been in contact with the Department on this issue? And the final question I asked in relation to the determinants of health was, I asked about the pressing areas that need to be moved on. I know the answer laid out 8, 9, 10 areas that are the headings in the disability strategy implementation plan. I was simply asking the department, are there a handful, are there 2 or 3 things, if they moved on in other departments, would rightly take pressure off of health and actually have people going where they should be? Okay, I'm leave it at that for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.